In a world where there are a million movie reviews, in a time where every single person has a podcast, in a place where everyone is a critic, it's Netflix and Phil.
Anyway,
Oh, did you freeze on me, Alok? Hold on just a second. Oh, Alok, I think I lost you. Oh no.
Fuck! We've got a problem.
so our friend Naomi Grossman tells me, we don't always read all the scripts, and what we do is we just read enough of it, read our part to make sure that we're A, not in a porn, or B, a snuff movie. So, I didn't, I kind of respected him at that point. I was like, okay, well, whatever. So we sat there on that Friday and we're starting on Monday. We're like, we're making a movie. I think, if everyone shows up, because at this point, we had such a tumultuous pre-production that I wasn't betting on it. Like I was like, if I was a betting man, I'd bet against this. But thankfully, everyone showed up. It all worked out, and the rest is, they say, his history in a way.
Yes, and agreed. And I think although the circumstances were unfortunate at first, I feel strongly. You mentioned Nicole, and you mentioned Susan Davis, who plays Miss Stanhope, and Naomi Grossman, and the gentleman that filled in for the male lead or came into the production after the fact. All so very strong and create such a nice universe, if you will, for 1BR. Of course, we know Naomi from her stint on American Horror Story. And Nicole, I hadn't seen prior to this, but what I admire about her work is her ability to use emotion, I think, on cue. And maybe you can speak to that a little bit better.
I mean, she literally can cry 8 different ways. I'm not even joking. Like, I mean, she literally, like, we'd be like, we should get it in one take, and we're like, that's good, right? Like, yeah, it's good. And she's like, oh, no, let me do it again. Let me do it again. I want to cry. I wanted the tear to fall a certain. I'm okay. You can do you okay? Go ahead. And she's saying the line. She's like redoing the line, and she makes the tear just like fall, like just like perfectly. And we're like, who are you? Like, what's going on? Like, she was really amazing. I mean, Giles is fucking great too. I mean, and Taylor Nichols, and of course Naomi Grossman. I was gonna say about Giles. The funny thing about Giles Maddie.
Mhm.
So we had a couple of Giles on the set. Not
Yes.
only do we have Giles Maddie, we had Haley Giles, who you don't really see in the movie, but she plays the nurse that spoiler alert, that the father is run off with, and all you see
Right.
is her giving a drink to him at the beginning and like massaging his shoulder a little bit, and then walking off. And so her name's Haley Giles, and then the cat's name was Giles.
Uh-huh.
And that cat was such a fucking good actor. Let me just tell you, one of the most expensive actors, I'm gonna say this, on the set. But that fucking cat, we called it like one take Giles. Because that cat would get it like one take. And so we would call Giles Maddie to set when the cat was acting, and I'd be like, look at that right there. That's fucking one take Giles right there. What the fuck happened to you?
Well, there's an element, speaking.
I'm kidding. I always tell that joke. Giles Maddie is a fantastic actor, and he can cry 8 different ways too. By the way, we got very lucky in getting him. He was like slumming it with us because his star was like doing it, and Taylor Nichols is just like he's in everything. You watch him, like you'll just see him pop up and like, what is it? The Perry Mason. He's
Mhm.
Matt. He'll be on like PN 15, which is a great comedy series on
Love it.
Hulu. He's like the
Mm,
dad in that, and
mm.
like he's in like he's in Chappaquiddick. Like, I mean, he comes up like in the craziest places, and he's like we become actually good friends and stuff. Actually, I met him at a party one time, and I love the movie Metropolitan. I'm a big Whit Stillman fan. Weirdly, I know I love horror, but I also love Whit Stillman films too.
Sure. Uh-huh.
And Metropolitan is one of my favorite movies, and I have a poster for this. And I went up to him like, Taylor Nichols, I got a poster of Metropolitan in my house. He's like, they have posters? Like, yeah. So a year later, I call him up. I'm like, hey, I'm an Indian guy. I like Metropolitan a lot. I want to cast you in something. And he's like, he's on vacation. Just send it to me. So he did. And he like loved it. And he was like, yes, the answer is yes. So it all works out.
And I knew his work from Pen 15 or Pen 15, however you want to um call it. And in that, of course, he's using his comedy muscle, but he's plays such a sinister character as kind of the how would you describe it, the mastermind behind this community in one BR. He plays with Naomi, their husband and wife team, and really it's because of him that the lead in this, Nicole as Sarah, just becomes part of the community. It's not an ordinary horror film. You can perhaps say elevated, etc., but it does some things that are unpredictable, and that's what I appreciate about 1BR, and why I encourage, if you're watching, by all means check it out on all the platforms that Alok just mentioned, because it serves something that isn't common in the horror genre.
You know what it is it's not really, this really isn't a horror movie. I mean, really what it is a psychological thriller with elements of horror.
Right.
And I think it's because of that, because it straddles the line of those two kind of genres between being a thriller and also being sort of a horror film, that so many people actually watched it. And then in addition to that, recommended it to people, because it's not like, Netflix said this to us when we met with them after the thing came out. They're like, what we like about your movie, it's the kind of horror movie you can watch with your mom. And I was like, I don't know whether to be like charmed by that or insulted, but I'm just gonna take it that it was a compliment. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, I guess, whatever, you can watch it with your mom.
I loved it, and it inspired me not only to write a review, but to seek you out. And I thought it was, we as horror fans are always very excited when we see something new and novel in the genre, so to speak. I do want to get back to casting just a little bit, and you mentioned Susan Davis as the woman in the community who's an aging B movie actress. And you may not, I don't know if you have the answer to this, but there's a great scene between her and the character of Sarah in the movie, and she's reflecting on her career. And in her apartment, there's a poster of what may be a B movie horror film that doesn't exist, but however it was created or fabricated, it looks real. And I was like, does that movie even exist?
No, I mean, it's our Ricardo Jatan, who was our production designer, and his team with the prop department. They just came up with that shit. I showed up to set and I'm like, oh, looks good, good work. I mean, the funny thing is, people don't know this, the outside stuff is shot in a functioning apartment complex, right? There's like people coming in and out, there's dogs barking. We had to like deal with all this kind of shit. And by the way, they were lovely people actually. Some of them were like, can we be in the movie? And I'm like, free extra? Hell yes, you can do that. So yeah, it was great. And the rest of it, everything you see inside, it's all one set that they keep on redressing every night to be a different apartment or a classroom or whatever the fuck it was. They would do it overnight, and we'd come in the morning like, okay, cool. So the prop department and the production designer, hats off. They did an amazing job with like 99% of everything, except for one thing I'll say. Okay, this is not a spoiler because it's in the goddamn trailer. The cat gets killed. Okay, I said it. The cat gets killed. It's in the trailer. You're going to be triggered. It looks fake as fuck. Is the one thing these guys didn't do a good job on, was that fucking cat. So much so that we had to cover it with more VFX smoke to make it not look as shitty. We had to do that. That cost extra money. So like it wasn't their best work, but people are very triggered. I mean, the reason we're lower for our audience score, like on Rotten Tomatoes or even like IMDb or whatever, is because people like will write like, I heard a cat dies in this movie. I didn't watch the film at all. Half a star. I would give you 0 if I could for animal cruelty. And I was like, turn your fucking head for a second. It's gone. Okay, it's gone. I mean, granted, it's in an oven and stuff, so I was like, whatever. But Marmor wanted to do something. Marmor loves cats, by the way. Like, that's the thing. He is a cat lover. If he was doing an interview right now, the cat would be like literally walking across the screen. Like he always goes up in everyone's face when we do interviews and stuff. And it was the worst thing you could imagine in the world. And that's why it's in there, right? Like he's a cat lover.
Right.
So, and here's the thing. No cats actually got killed. So, literally just turn your head and you'll be okay. It's literally 2 seconds. And I don't think it's even a second. Like it's a second and a half. And you're just like, you look this way, and all of a sudden you missed it, and you're good. Right. And then you can kind of tell where it goes from there. And the cat's never brought up again. That it's done. Like so,
True.
but there has to be some gravitas. There has to be some weight to all of this. It's this organization is not messing around with the rules, and so
Right.
hence this is why this happens. And so I think that look, you're going to be fine, and it's not real. We didn't hurt any cats. David Marmor loves his cats. I promise you. I promise you.
No
Okay, so let's
animals were harmed.
no no fucking animals were harmed making this movie.
I know. I appreciate hearing that because I'm a cat lover and I wasn't bothered. So I think you guys are fine. I'm not
I
worried
mean,
about
look,
it.
we would have been a PG-13 movie. I want to tell you this
Uh-huh.
if it wasn't for the amount of fucks that Sarah says at the end
Right.
when something's happening. I'm not gonna say what that is, but like
Mhm.
that's the reason we technically be considered an R-rated film, but we aren't rated at all really in this country at least. So all good. But like I said, it's the kind of movie you can watch with your mom. It's the kind of horror movie you can watch with your
Your
mom.
mom,
According to Netflix.
according to
According to
Netflix,
Netflix.
apparently.
Yes.
Well, and curiously, are those fucks scripted or did she just improvise those or
I think they were actually scripted, actually.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
Interesting.
she might have added more in there. But yeah.
Well, you mentioned VFX. I do have a question about that, and then I do actually have a question about the music. And I shared some of what I would be asking with you, but this I didn't share, and I don't know if you can speak to it. But there is a moment about 3/4 of the way through the film where the character of Sarah is played by Nicole. She's kind of accepted into the community, and she goes through kind of a ceremonious moment, and there's a song that's kind of upbeat, older song, a cover that's done of it, Angel of Morning, during that moment. And what I love is the juxtaposition of kind of this upbeat classic song over what's kind of an ominous, I don't want to give too much detail or give it away, but kind of awful ceremony so she can become part of the community in the apartment building.
I can tell, actually, who came up with that was our editor, Rick
Oh,
Fox.
really?
He put it in. We're like, it's a good song. We got to use this song. I wonder if we get the rights to this song. And like, we had to go get the rights to the song, which, it's not the original person doing it. There's been like there's an original version by somebody Marley, I want to say, and then Juice Newton did a cover of it. And
Right.
then we did a cover of it. So that's what it is. But it was actually Rick Fox who put it in. We're like, this is good. Well, we should use the song. So we did
Well,
that, and then I came up with the Happy Heart song actually, because I had we actually did want the Carpenters, who've only just begun, actually,
mhm,
right? And
okay.
we were this close to getting it,
Uh-huh.
right? And we were gonna pay some money for it and whatever. And then what happened is Richard Carpenter, and he's like, no, I don't want to sully our reputation any more than we have thus far. And here's the fucking thing. That fucking song has been used in room 1408,
Mm-hmm.
right? Every time something bad happens, he then awakes to that song playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you'll see someone like, dismembering themselves, and all of a sudden there's a Carpenter song. You see somebody jump out a window, and then there's a
Yeah.
Carpenter song. So there's that. And then I think John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, Sam Neill is being checked into a mental asylum, and he's in a straitjacket, and then they start playing not the Carpenters. He says this, right? And so
Well,
you're worried about us selling your. If anything, this would be an upgrade compared to all this shit that's come before. Like people at least remember it in a positive way. But we were very close to getting it. In the last minute, he's like, "No, I don't want to do it." I was
well,
looking for. I was trying to think about a song that was going on, and we were actually in production at the
mhm,
time. And my room my producing partner Shane Borster, we were watching a movie on one of our not, after we got home early from set one day, and it
uh,
was Shallow Grave, and it was
okay.
Danny Boyle's first movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that song is in the movie, and I'm like, it's been a long time since that movie came out. I wonder if we could just use that song because it's kind of perfect. It has that sort of feel of like we've only just begun, and it has sort of that kind of upbeat thing going on. And for me, I was like, if you bring it back right when the movie ends,
Mm-hmm.
that'll there's a trick you do when you're testing movies that if you put a song that's very kind of cool or whatever, or comes back and it brings you back to what happened in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you put it at the end right when the credits roll, then people will score the movie like 5 to 10 points higher sometimes. We decided to do that with that song, and I actually came to David it was one day, like he was sitting there trying to collect his thoughts and figure out his direction. I'm like, hey, listen, I got this idea for a song, and then he's like, can we just talk about it later? Like maybe after we fucking shot the movie. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna go.
Well, thank your editor one for Angels of Morning, and Happy Hearts. Is that the name of the one that closes the film itself?
Yeah, it's originally done by it's funny, Andy Williams did the
Uh-huh.
original version,
Uh-huh.
and then at the same time when that was on the charts, Petunia Clark or Petulia Clark or something.
Petula, Petula. I can't say it
LA.
either, but
Petulia, I don't know, Petulia.
yeah.
She did a version of the song, and they were both on the charts, the top 40 at the same time, weirdly.
Interesting.
So I mean, it was a catchy fucking song, I guess. That had to be done while the other song was out. You know?
Right. I thank you for pulling back the curtain on that, because funny enough, I don't think I'd be a fan of the Carpenters if it weren't for its recurrence in room 1408, as you said.
I like the Carpenters. I mean, I like death metal, but then sometimes I'll listen to like Last Christmas or whatever. Get me in the right mood.
Yes. I do want to shift now to visual effects, and this is where I ask any viewers, if you don't want the ending spoiled, to go watch it right now on its many platforms here in January. But there's a moment at the conclusion of the film where Sarah escapes the community, the apartment complex, and there's a great moment at the ending of it as she gets out, and we, as the viewer, assume that she's free and she's escaped and has survived. And she's the lone person on a street dotted with a bunch of apartment buildings. And I didn't ask this earlier, but where was that shot, and how was the effect achieved to kind of clue the viewer in that maybe there were other apartment buildings that were also part of this greater whole of a community? How did that work out?
Well, the funny thing is, when we first shot this movie, we shot in 2017 December, right? And
Okay.
we shot an ending that I did not like and I did not care
Oh.
for, and I did not know was going to happen that day because they had actually changed the ending on me.
Oh
And usually
no.
when we'd send notes, like we'd send like whatever was changed in the body of the email, and then we'd send like the hard copy of the changed script. Some reason, the one time it's about the ending.
Mhm.
We're going to go back. We're going to go do reshoots because this is off. And David's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Sorry, David. Don't, no offense. It's a piece of shit ending. Like, this is not a good ending." And
Uh-huh.
and so he was like, he was just, as a first time producer, I did not react the way I should have. I should have just shut my fucking mouth. But I'm very passionate, and I was like, "We're going to have to go back and do reshoots. I'm going to tell you this right now. That's what's happening right now." And sure enough, we did actually have to go back and do reshoots. But when we did it, we we shot for 15 days initially. Then we went back in the beginning of September, I
Mhm.
want to say, and shot for 4 more days. So in total, it was a 19-day kind of shoot technically. But when we went back for that, and we couldn't get the band back together because all the actors were working and whatever, and it was
Right.
tough to get them, the cinematographer and whatever. So it took us that long, but we were willing to wait because, to be fair, like this was our first movie. I didn't care if it didn't make any money or not. It had to be good. That was the only thing I cared about. So, and that's not usually, you know, a luxury that most, producers or investors have. So we went back and shot 2 more endings for it, in fact.
Oh, really?
It's never been, no one's ever seen them or whatever. And one of the endings obviously we went with. And actually, I'll be fair, that wasn't David's favorite ending. He wanted the other ending. And we were
Mhm.
like, look, we're going to test it. Let's see how it tests. And sure enough, the audience is like the ending that actually was the ending, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of the ending we have currently is much more of a the end or is it type of ending. And I feel like it really does open the door for the sequel and whatever else. And so that's what the story behind it. And where was it shot? It wasn't shot right outside the apartment complex because it was funny. Like apartment complex was the original the stuff you see inside is actually in a very residential neighborhood. Like there's just like it's all houses around it.
Uh-huh.
And so we actually had to go to another neighborhood and scout this one other thing to say, okay, so she stops running, and then she's going to see all these different houses down the street.
Uh-huh.
And so the way it was done, like spoiler alert, like you find out there's like everything. There's like 1,000 different communities. Actually, it wasn't just that was the one that was like there. It's really the end, or is it? we knew we got permission from the police. We had a police officer there, and what we didn't have permission really in some ways was to get the lights as close to the buildings as we'd like, and so we kind of did it real fast and just go. And then we added some extra ones in with
Okay.
VFX and stuff like that. So it's like probably about half of them are real lights going off and stuff, and then the other half are stuff we added in addition to that.
Well, and you can't tell because it looks like a lighting designer, somebody went down and dotted the whole street with various red lights, which I'm sure would disturb residents during a night shoot.
We shot the whole thing, that whole thing, like in an hour. That was like one of the last things we shot. It was like 2 a.m. or something, and we're like, just do it. Just do it. They call the police. Call the police. Let's just go. Go, 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 go. It's like movie magic.
Rogue filmmaking, right? Well, and again, it makes for a great ending, which it was well received by viewers of the film and me, and it stages it for this question.
Well, I was gonna tell you one more. I was gonna tell you one more thing actually about the shooting locations. Sure. This is a story we've never told anybody. Okay.
Oh, this is an exclusive.
So,
all right.
Exclusive. So the motel scene, right, where she's sitting there at the beginning and the cat comes and does whatever. And
the motel,
like
yeah.
Yeah. So we shot that like that was guerrilla. Like we went in to this like literally it was a motel down the street from my house. And there's an Indian guy there who's like, and then I'm Indian, so I'm like, hey, what's going on? I'm just get the 2 hotel rooms next to each other. All good. So we go in there and we're holding people in one room and then we're shooting in the other room. And the cat's in the scene too. The cat wrangler's there. We got very stripped down crew, like 5 people. Like there's like a sound guy, there's a camera person, there's like I think there's a little bit of lighting, not a lot, and then just the director, and then myself, the producer, and like that's it. We just shot like an hour and we're done. And I went back to the Indian guy who was like, it was at the hotel. I'm like, oh, was something wrong? Is something wrong with the room? I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, it's all good. It's all good. We're good. Gotta go.
Well, how wonderful! Because I didn't realize you heard it here on Netflix and Phil.
Allegedly.
But as I recall, it comes early in the film, of course. But what great production value! Because isn't there a lovely neon sign? You get an establishment.
Well, that's something we had to pay for. That's actually a hotel in the valley.
Oh, so that's another one. Okay,
that's another hotel. It's a movie magic.
Movie magic. So the interior is where you had to be really quick. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that place that we show on the outside of the sign and everything we only had to pay them like $300 and they let us do it.
Really?
Like, all right, good. It's all right. So we made them sign some whatever and $300. Let's do it. Like we'll take that shot. So.
Well, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and it's funny how much we don't know.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. We don't, and I, as a casual viewer, don't know what goes on. So you have your exteriors, you have your interiors, and then you have one take Giles, who in the motel scene just is kind of a jump scare, actually, where he appears out of nowhere.
Just does it.
And what the current ending does is kind of set it up for perhaps another chapter of 1BR. And can you speak to that? And is that in the works, or what can we see next?
We're gonna have a couple different chapters. Look, I like to J.J. Abrams things as much as possible, and I tell you anything, and it just appears out of nowhere. What's in the box? You'll pay to see what's in the box.
Sure.
The thing of it is that I would tell you that if the first one was Alien, the second one is Aliens.
Okay.
So you're going to see a much bigger sort of world. You're going to see, it's a bigger budget for sure. And there's going to be multiple chapters. It's going to be, it's going to be great. And you're going to, I can tell you this, we are definitely considering theatrical release for it, given, how well it's done on Netflix, the 2 years it's been on there, and hopefully given the fact that it's going to hopefully do well on AVOD and everything, and given the fact how like Terrifier 2, for example, I don't know if you've seen that yet.
Yes,
that'll put some hair on your chest. It was like a Tuesday and the whole theater is like sold out practically.
Yeah.
Like I had to do my trick of like, buying the handicap seats because I didn't want to sit in the first like 3 rows of the theater and stuff.
Understood.
And I'm sitting there like, holy shit, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm so horrified about what I'm watching right now. And I mean, I had to literally like go like this sometimes when I was watching. I fucking never do that. And I was like, that movie made $13 million. Like, I mean, and
Mhm.
you know what reason it did though? Because there's awareness of that film. That
Yes.
movie, like the second one, I mean, the first one was like, you know, they had All Hallows Eve was like sort of a thing where they had just
Mhm.
the Art the Clown as connective tissue to like all these
Right.
anthology stories. And second movie was had some nice kills in it and whatever, but you know, second movie, third movie, $250,000. They don't spend a dime on marketing it, but the movie had been out since 2016. So there's awareness of it. There's
Yeah.
awareness of a brand. It had risen above the noises, you say, right? As one would say. And I feel like since our movie has done the same in a way, and it's also a thriller. It's not just for you know a hardcore horror fan, let's say. I think we'll be able to get a lot of audience people to come in. And like, look, I'm happy to come back on the show
Sure.
when the second
Mhm.
one's coming out,
Uh-huh.
and that may be this year,
Oh, good. Good.
or the beginning of 2024. We'll have to see.
On that note, Alok, I want to thank you. We kind of hit our time limit here, but before we go, I do share again what platforms we can expect the original film to appear on this January.
The two platforms I'd really like you to watch it on
Sure.
are either Tubi or Freevee. They
Mhm.
pay the most money, as far as I know.
There you go.
Then it's on Peacock, it's on Vudu,
Mhm.
Flex, Roku TV, Pluto TV,
Mhm.
and Zumo.
Okay.
So those are all the
Excellent.
places you can see it. And like, look, you're gonna have a good time. Like there's all these things that are gonna be fantastic for you to watch. Look, you're gonna be hungover January 1st, right? I'm
Yes,
just gonna let
yes.
you know. You're gonna be hungover. Just go put it on. I
Go
mean, you
watch.
know, even if you've already watched it, just put it on.
Just
Make
put it
make
on.
me 22. Make me 22 cents. I can almost afford half a video game and like 1/16 of a beer in Los Angeles. You know, 1/100th of a beer in Los Angeles. I mean, just help a brother out. Help these actors. They got some points on the movie. None of them have seen any money yet. Maybe this is the thing. Maybe Naomi Grossman will go to a bar and buy herself a beer based off of like the couple points of money that she has gotten because of you watching this on January 1st, starting the year off right with your mom probably.
Yes.
And
Well, great. Well, send her my best, and I wish you best of luck with the next installments in the brand, if you will. And thank you so much for your time, Alok. It's been a pleasure to have you on Netflix and Phil.
of course.
Thanks
Thank you,
again.
Phil.
You're
Cheers.
welcome. Stay
Happy
safe.
New Year,
Happy New
everyone.
Year.